This is the last part of Module 4, Part I, Quicksort, Part 2. First, in Part I.1, we want to look at the implementation of partitioning. So last time we discussed the idea of partitioning. So now we need to work on the implementation. All right. To do that, first, so let's look at the straightforward way partitioning, implementation. The easiest way, the straightforward way. So we can easily understand that part. Then we try to improve from there. To split one given array into two parts, right? When we split, we need to choose a pivot element. Then there is a critical condition we need to make. The first array, all the values in the first array should be less than or equal to the value of the pivot element. The values of all the elements in the second array should be greater or equal to the pivot element. That's the key condition we need to make. All right. So based on that, so let's look at the easiest implementation to make that happen. All right. We use two auxiliary arrays. The first step to make the manipulation easier for us. So we just use two auxiliary arrays. Other than the original array, we use another two arrays to copy elements. All right. In this way, so we just want to get that key condition. So we don't worry about other things at this point. All right, so first, when we have this array, we choose the last element as the pivot element. Because that position is good for us. So we did analysis. We know either the first position or last position is the best for the pivot element, for the position of the pivot element. The value, we know it's random. Value, anyone has the equal, every element is equally good to be used as the pivot element. So value, we're fine. The position, the first or last, is important. Here we use the last element version, but sometimes some people may also like to use the first element version. It's not very important. Equivalent. These two methods, equivalent. All right. Now, let the scan array from the beginning to end. When we scan for each element, we will compare it with the pivot element. If it is less than or equal to the pivot element value, we will place it in the first subarray. Less than or equal to. Less than or equal to P, we put in the first auxiliary array. If it is greater than, strictly greater than P, we will place it in the second auxiliary array. In this way, you can see it's so easy. We can separate the elements in those two subarrays to satisfy our key partitioning condition. With that condition, when we merge, when we conquer each one, when we merge, very easy, very straightforward. All right. So you can see if we use these two auxiliary arrays, we already get a problem solved. So easy, right? So easy. All right. But now, because we already have this first round version of the solution, now we need to think about, is it good enough? Can we improve it? Yeah. So we need to go to the next level. Yeah. All right. After that, you can copy the elements back to the original array, right? We copy back, yeah, to split the given data in two subarrays. Yeah. But is this solution acceptable? Right? Yeah. Is there any room to improve, to make it better? Right? Yeah. Here, we need to consider another important factor, the space usage. Space usage. Yeah. We know to improve an algorithm, there are two factors. The first one, the primary factor is the efficiency. So that's the most important, primary factor. Here, the efficiency, we are acceptable. We are satisfied. Okay. If you look at the efficiency factor, it is big O of k, right? Yeah. So we're okay with this efficiency. Yeah. But there is the secondary factor also worth the consideration, space usage. Yeah. Here, we do that part. Yeah. Can we save memory space? In other words, is it possible we can eliminate those two auxiliary arrays? Right? Because you need to use extra storage space. Okay? Almost the same size as the original data. If you can save that part, your save is pretty significant. Yeah. So we need to try that. We need to try to remove the auxiliary arrays. Yeah. So our next part, control extra space used. Yeah. Remember, we have a concept called in-place algorithm. In-place algorithm. The extra space used by the algorithm, big theta of 1, controlled by this minimum possible quantity. Yeah. So in-place algorithm is very good one. So we try to make that. Here, we want to do the partitioning without using auxiliary arrays. We can use extra 1 or 2 or small number of extra spaces, but under big theta of 1. Yeah. That is acceptable for the in-place algorithm. All right? Yeah. Now, let's do it. Let's try to make that happen. Yeah. All right. So now we can only manipulate the elements within the given array. So we can only use the space in the given array to manipulate elements. So we can do swaps. We can do a lot of swaps. Yeah. Yeah. So we can do the manipulation. Yeah. So here I draw the first part S region. The reason I use S, all the elements in this region smaller or equal to P. Yeah. Smaller or equal to. So I take that S symbol. Yeah. The second region, L region, larger than P. The value in the second region larger than P. So I use L region. Okay. Then the third part, I need a special region for the remaining part, U region. U means unprocessed. Yeah. Because when I process element one by one, at the current step, there are some elements unprocessed. So I put them in the U region, unprocessed region. In this way, I try to manage these three regions. And eventually, the U region shrinks to empty. Yeah. L region, S region grow, and finally to their final states. Okay? Yeah. So that's the plan. That's the idea. Yeah. Here in A array, we use S region to manage elements in the A subarray. Okay? B subarray, we use the L region to manage its elements. Okay? Yeah. These two regions at the beginning, they are empty. Yeah. So we start from nothing, then grow these two regions. Yeah. So when we grow, we should be very careful to manipulate the elements in these regions. Yeah. Initially empty. So then grow, yeah, eventually to the final states. Yeah. All right. Then the unprocessed region, initially it is the whole array except the pivot element. Yeah. The pivot element we do not consider in any of the three regions. Yeah. So other than that, then all the elements are in the U region at the beginning. Yeah. At the end, it is empty. Yeah. It is empty at the end. So you can see if we can manage these three regions well, then we can complete the partitioning step without using the auxiliary arrays. Yeah. So that is the general idea doing the partition step. Now, all right. So for this video, I just talk about this much. Now, in my next video, I will use concrete example, one concrete example to show you how to manipulate the elements in a given array in these three regions. Yeah. All right, so